there was this older gentleman who actually drove about 3 some odd hours, and he came in going up and down. I seen him flag me down, and he's like, I just want to let you know, thank you. You didn't disappoint us, and thank you for putting Indian cuisine on the map like that.
Yeah.
I was touched by that. And I got a call from like a news channel, and they were like, would you mind sending us some pictures from Jashan? And I'm like, don't you think you need pictures from Sindoore? And she's like, no, we'll take pictures from Jashan. And I'm like, Sindoore made it to the top 100. Wake up to realize both the restaurants had made it. There's like my babies, and they're doing well, and it's a proud moment. For anybody who's debating should they do their own thing or should they stick to what they're doing, my only takeaway is get up for yourself at 5 a.m. rather than getting up for somebody at 7 a.m.
Welcome to the Explore Nash podcast. We're so glad that you took the time to listen to this episode. Today, we're talking about Indian food, Indian culture, operations. We're going to get deep into those topics. But first, this episode is brought to you by the Explore Nash Text Club. You may be like, what's the Explore Nash Text Club? Well, for $5 a month, you can get discounts at 4 to 25 different restaurants and establishments throughout Tennessee. And guess what? Both of the restaurants we're going to talk about today are part of the Explore Nash Text Club. So if you want exclusivity on these deals, this discounts, and possibly buy one, get ones, head to explorenash.club to sign up today. Joining me on today's episode is an amazing friend, a great operator, Akki Grover. He is the owner of Sindoore and Jashan. Did I say it right?
Yes, sir.
I said it right.
Yes.
It's about time. After saying it hundreds of times, for some reason, I want to say Yishin, but it's not Yishin.
No,
it's Jashan.
Just like how it's not Jeff Rogan.
Yeah. the Joe Rogan sauce. So Akki, you own 2 of the best Indian restaurants in Nashville.
That is correct.
Sindoore has, in the last 5 years, 3 times came in the top 100.
That's correct.
According to Yelp.
Yes, sir.
So let's get into the history of Sindoore. We'll talk about this Yelp title and how that impacted your business. We'll talk about some other things, and then we'll get into Jashan. So what's your history, and how did you get into the restaurant world?
All right. Never thought that I'll actually enter the restaurant world. Growing up, I belonged to a business family, but every Sunday, my parents and I used to go to this country club, and there was a little restaurant inside that club, and that was like my favorite place to go eat. So going there like every weekend, I started making friends with the people who worked behind the scenes, like, the servers, the chefs. And they used to show me the kitchen, and they used to show me how they had table numbers written inside. And it used to really fascinate me. 22 years later, that thing always still played in the back of my head, and always had that interest to actually know more about it. Came a time when I moved to the United States, and again, I was helping my cousin out with his business. And
how long have you been in the United States for?
About 21 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And
then where in India did you grow up?
There's a city, it's called Pune. It's right outside Mumbai.
Okay.
About 2 hours west of Mumbai. It's a pretty big metropolitan in itself. And just moved here right after college, and wanted to study and kind of pursue other things. But I was helping my cousin out in his business. And then I realized maybe that's what I'd really need to focus on, rather than trying to get a business degree and then doing business. So I was kind of getting the first hands-on experience on it. And that's what I appreciate about him the most.
So when did Sindoore officially open the doors?
It was September 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
So doing business in Donaldson, what's that been like for you? Has that been
blessing?
Okay.
Yes. So I was new to Nashville. I actually used to live in Clarksville, which is, again, about 40 minutes away from here. And I was not too familiar to the area. But when we opened in Donaldson, the people, oh my God, they've been fantastic, so supportive. Talking about supportive, I remember when COVID hit, There was this one gentleman who I don't think I can ever forget. He came to the restaurant and he bought $1,000 gift card. And I was like, sir, I don't know how long COVID's going to go on. Do you sure you want to buy? It's like, you need this money now. I'll come back and, get food later. And the support has just been fantastic. One of the best locations I could have opened. And I think I've actually made like a family. The people that come in there, like Joe, you know him.
Yeah, he's on our team.
Yeah. He'll be there every Thursday. And like, I have those kind of people who come in. I don't even call them guests anymore. I call them family.
Mm-hmm.
We literally, like, every time I see them, we'll hug each other, we'll sit and talk. And that's what it's been about.
So since 2017, in the last 5 years, so since 2020, Sindoore has been in the top 100 according to Yelp.
That is correct.
How has that impacted your business?
The first time, even I did not believe it. I had...
So it's the first time like 21?
21 or 22.
20, okay.
I want to say 21. One of my friends from the industry called me at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, congratulations, man, one of the best restaurants in the country. And I'm like, maybe he just tried the food and, he was just trying to compliment the food. And I had no clue that I had made it to the list, only to find out that I actually read an article about it. And I'm like, whoa. So it really, it took some time, and slowly but not surely, I started seeing a rise. But then the spike actually came, like when we spoke, is when you figured it out one day and you came in and you spoke about it. And
that was the second time, though, after the second time, because the first time...
you came in after the first time.
Oh, okay.
You did. And I think that's when...
No, the second time is January of 24 is when we came in and filmed. So that would have been the second time.
Yeah, that was the second time then. Yeah.
Okay.
But then it just spiked from there. And I started noticing people coming from like out of town.
Yeah.
And saying like, we've literally drove like the distance to come see what's one of the best Indian restaurants in the city doing, in the country doing.
What, with that being in mind, we just talked to an operator. They said they had somebody drive 5.5 hours. What was the furthest somebody told you they drove in? Maybe because they saw our video or because of the Yelp rating to come check out the restaurant.
It happened at Jashan, also just recently during Valentine's Day. I think we spoke about it.
Yeah, we talked about it.
And there was this older gentleman who actually drove about 3 some odd hours, and he came in, and it's not the distance that matters. It's just like the faith that he had in us. And he came in and he's like, I didn't make a reservation, and I would love to try this place out. Like, very nice gentleman. And I got him a table, and I forgot about him being there, and got busy because it was Valentine's Day and we were like really swamped. Going up and down, I seen him flag me down, and he's like, come here when you get a second. And I walked up to the table and I was like, hoping everything's okay. And he's like, I tried to convince my family all day. That way he would drive me, like he had his son drive him over there. And he's like, I just want to let you know, thank you. You didn't disappoint us. And thank you for putting Indian cuisine on the map like that.
Yeah.
I was touched by that.
That's awesome. With Sindoore, and the success that you've had there, what's the biggest thing you've learned from an operations standpoint with Sindoore?
With Sindoore or with Jashan or with any restaurant for that matter, to anything from that rating or from the success of the restaurants, the only thing you learn is that you cannot get none of this without 2 things. One is having the team on your side, and you cannot run a restaurant alone. It's a well-oiled machine and in harmony with so many people who love that business or that place of work as much as you do. And I'm so blessed with that. Right from the chefs to the dishwashers to the servers. I think we're all a big family. And that's one. And number 2 is having or keeping this in the back of your mind every single day. That a restaurant is a place where people usually come to celebrate something. Let it be a
Date night, an anniversary,
exactly,
birthday.
Just a long week, a farewell, a birthday, and a lot of people, save up sometimes to get a babysitter so that they come out on a date night. Like, they'll keep their best outfits for this night, and they're choosing you to celebrate.
Yep.
So we just need to keep it in the back of our mind that we need to choose them over whatever else we've got going on.
What does that mean from a staffing standpoint? What does that mean, like, from your perspective in hospitality?
Staffing for me is, I've said this before, it not necessarily means having, the best of servers, chefs. It definitely means for me somebody who's passionate. I have a bartender at Jashan right now who does magic behind the bar. And when she came on the team, she had never bartended before. And I said, like, obviously I can put you behind the bar right just yet. But if you, actually show interest and, try to read up and, try to practice behind the bar every time you got a chance, I promise you, when we are ready, I'm ready for you to go back there. And she did show the passion that she had for it. And today she makes drinks that amazes me. She really does. So having people like that on your side is a blessing.
So from a hospitality perspective, how do you see that to your guests coming into your restaurant?
With guests coming into your restaurant, if somebody who's passionate about what they're doing, they're going to make sure that they deliver that. And when they're doing that is what is, the guest actually looking for in the experience, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to the second restaurant here in a few minutes. Let's talk about Indian culture. So your restaurant is serving different varieties. Both of them are serving different varieties of food from India. So being from India yourself, what is your ultimate, favorite Indian food?
My favorite Indian food is actually also a part of the menu at both places. It is called the Goan curry, and it's got shrimp in it. So Goa is really known for its coastal essence, since it's like a beach, and everything is very prominent on coconut. So they make this curry, which is made with a major amount of coconut milk and onions and tomatoes. And it goes really well with seafood, shrimp being my favorite. And it's one of my top dishes. And I have that at both the places, and I think they justify them really well. Talking about Indian culture. So, oh my God, the most diverse culture that you can come across, very colorful, narrow streets, but big hearts as far as hospitality. There's a famous saying in India, which says Atiti Devo Bhava, and which actually means guest is God. And I try to keep in the back of my mind with both the places.
So, okay, with all of that in mind, we probably have a lot of people in our audience that have never experienced Indian food. I to be honest, I never experienced Indian food until I moved to Nashville. I grew up in a town that was very white, and a town of 3,000 people, and so it was, for me, I love the experience and the adventure of trying these new foods. A lot of people are hesitant. So what type of advice would you give to people that are hesitant to try Indian food?
I still get that a lot. There'll be so many people who are still trying Indian food for the first time.
And I know at least 200 people I could probably name that have never truly experienced Indian food.
Right. Yeah. So just a few months ago, there was this lady who came in there with a group of people. And she's like, do you have something American on the menu? Like fries, burgers. And I'm like, I can get you something. But what is that, is wanting you not to try this. And she's like, I just can't handle spice. And that's the biggest misconception about Indian food. In Indian food, the word spice means a diversity of flavors, different spices, anywhere from cardamom to cinnamon, to basil leaves, mint, cilantro, a gazillion different things. That's where the word spice comes from that cuisine, not just necessarily meaning like being high in like a spice category.
So with that in mind, so with like a curry, it's like level 1 to level 5. So break down those levels, maybe based on the pepper blend or like what you guys are doing.
Okay, so it depends on the curry. Like tikka masala, which is one of the most popular Indian curries, I would not even put it as a level 2.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there is a curry called vindaloo, which is, I would give it a level 5 because it is made with vinegar and green chilies.
Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So, okay, that comes from, it was originated somewhere near Goa, and back in the day when India was under the English Empire.
Yep.
And there was a part of India that was also under the Portuguese.
Okay.
And Portugals used to use a lot of red chilies and vinegar in their making of food. And that's where actually the vindaloo comes from.
Okay.
And that is the spices of the curries.
So from like is there a comparison to like an American dish for that particular curry?
Maybe, have you tried Hattie B's or the Princess Hot Chicken?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I would go all the way there.
Like the shut the cluck up level?
Shut the cluck up kind. Okay, so
from Hattie B's? Okay.
Yeah, not necessarily. You can turn it up that high.
Okay.
But
it doesn't make you feel awful?
Not really. You can turn it up that high, but you don't need to. I really think that if you turn the spice up way too high, it just takes away from the flavor sometimes.
Of course.
So, but that being the spiciest curry, if you had to equivalent it, I don't even know if that's the right one, but what's the one below that one, I would say?
Damn hot.
Let's
for Hattie B's. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
But you're still experiencing all the flavors of the main dish instead of being overwhelmed by the spice.
Right. And that's
and don't get me wrong, I love Hattie B's, but like Shut the Cluck Up has destroyed me multiple times. And that shouldn't happen with Indian food.
I don't think that should happen with
any food. Yeah. Absolutely.
I remember standing and waiting in line in front of Hattie B's, and somebody was talking about like how they had to pull somebody out of here.
Yeah.
Tried that one, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to go that far.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, and
I've cried multiple times on camera. Either
right.
That's tough.
Like food is supposed to be about flavor.
Yeah,
and not about the intensity of heat that it holds.
Yeah.
Not be too bland, not be too spicy. It's just the flavors, the different flavors that come together, which would justify the curry or the meat that's it getting prepared in.
Yeah. So with flavor in mind, the one thing I love about your dishes is even it is like a roller coaster of experience. There's spiciness, there's sweetness, there's savory, there's maybe like walk me through like, you know, the lamb korma is my favorite thing that you guys offer. It's hands down my favorite thing. But I just had the rice that Joe introduced me to last week.
The biryani.
Yeah. Yes. And this was a lamb-based dish. And I ate that rice. We actually, my wife cooked salmon at the house, and we used that rice as the base. And it was a full-blown experience of eating that rice.
Oh, yeah.
So walk me through like just the process and the time of taking these spices, the mints, the cilantros, the cinnamon, and combining them to make this journey of food.
So one of the most tedious cuisines is Indian cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's talk about that biryani that you liked. If made the way it needs to be made, what happens is they take like lamb, which is kind of marinated, and then they marinate it for like a good, like maybe even overnight at least. And what they do is they start layering it. So they put a layer of uncooked rice, and then they lay like a layer of the marinated meat, and then again a layer of rice, then again a layer of meat till the time it fills to the top of the brim of the vessel you're cooking it in. And then you have to cook it under pressure. And when I say under pressure, what they'll do, they put the lid on top of it, and they take dough and cover it from the entire circumference.
Okay.
Just to where there is no pressure coming out of anywhere.
Yep.
It's cooked in like intense pressure for not so long, which cooks the rice and the meat.
Okay.
And all the flavors stay inside the rice.
Yeah.
And then when they have to serve it, they go straight down. That way you get like an equivalent amount of meat and rice on your plate.
Yeah.
So there is actually a process behind it, and that's why it's so flavorful.
So it reminds me of like Italian food, where if you're doing Italian food properly, it may take you 3 or 4 days to make the sauce.
That's correct.
Before you actually serve that sauce.
That's right.
So the flavor of the rice, even left over, like this was 2 days left over, like you're still having that full experience with the flavor. Like it was amazing. And like this is journey. My son loved it. I sent you the video a couple times eating some stuff, and he just, he's a baby. And I like, for me, it's important for me to have him have a diverse palate, because I feel like I didn't grow up with that diversity of the palate that I get to experience now.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's get into Jashan.
Okay.
So you have the success of Sindoore, and then where did this second concept come from? Where you're like, I'm not busy enough with Sindoore, I needed the second one.
So actually the validation did come from like, the love that we got at Sindoore. And when we seen that, people appreciated what we had to offer over and over again, like after a certain point, I realized like, maybe I'm ready to do something. And I always wanted to do something which is a little different from Sindoore, not taken away from the taste or the flavors or the authenticity. So I wanted to serve Indian food just a little different without changing the taste. And that's where Jashan came along.
Yeah, for me, from an outsider perspective, Jashan's like, it feels like a Indian American fusion. So you have pizza on the menu. You have sliders, even though they're not like beef sliders like you could think of, but like you have like things like a brownie, like serving a brownie at an Indian restaurant. My mind doesn't immediately go to it, but if you're eating, get the cardamom brownie. It's going to change your life. It's so good. So walk me through that fusion process. You're like, okay, I still want the Indian flavors, but is it to maybe diversify your guest? Like, walk me through that whole.
So it's funny. Everything that's on the menu came up from like our personal favorites, what we enjoy. Like, I love a birria taco. And I was like, if I had to make this at Sindoore, how would I actually make it? And we came across like to where we would like braise the meat for the longest amount of time, and then kind of reduce the sauce and try to use it as a dunker for the same taco. And I was like, this is brilliant. This is amazing. And that's how each and every dish came along. It is just our favorites from across the city, keeping the main authenticity of the flavor in mind. We're just serving it like our favorites, like your favorites, like a taco or, like a slider, like having like a bar snack, like peanuts is like one of the most popular bar snack. And we actually got an Indian twist to that, to where we actually serve it with like a little bit of pico de gallo with roasted peanuts. And it's delicious. So just coming up with like different things. And that's where like we played around with the menu a little bit, even with the dessert. I love a warm brownie with some vanilla ice cream. Just thought like, what if we had to do it with chai ice cream and actually have like garam masala or cardamom infused in our brownie. And it worked great.
So why did you choose the location of 21st Avenue? Was it because of the proximity of Vanderbilt? Was it, hey, this became available, let's try that? So what was the process in choosing that location?
Actually, I think that spot was available for quite some time. And
because it used to be another concept way back in the day. I can't remember what it was.
There was a breakfast place called J. Christopher behind it.
Yep.
And I think way back in the day, I think there was a place called Taste.
Yes. Okay.
I'd never been in.
Yeah.
But I think the place was available for quite some time. And while we were working on the concept and the menu, we were like very aggressively looking for different like spots around the city. And we stumbled upon this place and, just debated whether everything would work, like especially like you have to keep in mind the kind of crowd or the neighborhood you're catering to.
Yeah. You have doctors and you have students, right? Because you're in between Belmont and Vanderbilt. Yeah. So
yeah,
and you may have a large international student base from Vanderbilt, but you may not have that at Belmont. Yeah, so there's a lot to cater to.
So having like both sides, like
you're on an exit of a highway, like yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we're like, we have the entire Indian menu as well as a little bit of fun. So that would just to appeal to the both sides of the crowd that could visit us. And that's exactly the spot that I wanted for it.
And another thing about Jashan is you have free parking. And most people on 21st Avenue do not have free parking.
They don't have free parking.
Yeah. Pancake Pantry does not have free parking. And that's a very popular place. So
blessed with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've been operating that for 1 year. What, from an operation standpoint, how, and we've seen this with a lot of operators in Nashville, they open their second location and their first location immediately goes downhill. How do you balance operating two restaurants?
I try to be at both places at least once a day. And it's not as easy because a restaurant in itself requires a lot of attention. But then I'm like I said, I'm going to go back to the team that we have, and it's having the right people on your team helps. I can trust them. The team that we have at Sindoore, I've had them for a while, and I trust them because I know, like, we've literally been a family. So I know each and every one of them over there, and they really care about the place. And that's what gave me the confidence to even start looking for another place. And I think without them, I don't think I could have opened another spot.
What piece of advice would you give to an operator that's doing well, maybe thriving with their first location, is considering either a second location of the same concept or opening a different type of concept?
You have to grow. So whatever it takes. I wouldn't tell anybody that it's difficult or it's easy. It is going to be difficult. But then if you do want to grow, you're going to have to bite that bullet and you're going to have to work harder, maybe twice as harder as you did before that. But at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it. The only piece of advice I would have is take your time, put your groundwork in, and have all of your ducks in a row before you actually just go both directions. And that would help because the first couple of years is the hardest when you're trying to like manage, like, which way to run. And if you have that, I think you should be fine.
What failure have you learned from operating two restaurants?
My belief is that anything that I'm trying, and if I receive failure, I don't consider it as failure. The only time I consider anything as failure is when I didn't try it. Is when I consider that, why did I not? So I hate that regret part. So the one failure I would kind of like keep in mind before operating the two would be like, I gave up a few opportunities, and that's where I'm coming from. So I don't want to give up any opportunities of doing something that I enjoy doing. That's one.
All right. This is going to be, let's finish with Jashan first, but I have a question in mind that I want to ask, and I think it's going to be controversial, but it's going to be good.
Oh my God.
So in your first year of operating Jashan, you got a second restaurant on Yelp's top 100. That's a huge feat. Yes. So congratulations to that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I knew that came out of nowhere when we've talked, and you're like, oh, wow, my other restaurant in about a year is in top 100. Has that impacted your business at Jashan?
Yes. And we spoke about this. Again, the same thing happened to me. I already knew that Sindoore had made it on the list like a week prior. And I got a call from like a news channel and they were like, would you mind sending us some pictures from Jashan? And I'm like, don't you think you need pictures from Sindoore? And she's like, no, we'll take pictures from Jashan. And I'm like, but Sindoore made it to the top 100. And they're like, we're seeing Jashan over here. And I'm like, there's some kind of confusion. Wake up to realize both the restaurants had made it. It did impact business, yes. Not only it impacted business at Jashan, but it also impacted business again at Sindoore because people know it's getting operated by the same team and, like a little bit of similarity between the cuisine and the taste. So it kind of helped both places back to back when we did that. The most surprising part is I know there was a representative from Yelp itself called us and like, we haven't seen much of people making it to the list before a restaurant is even a year old.
Yeah.
So
what, how did that make you feel?
Very proud.
And we haven't verified this yet, but you may have heard through the rumor mill, but like, has there been another operator that owns 2 restaurants in the same year have 2 of their restaurants in the top 100?
I'm not really sure. I hope there are, and I hope a lot of other restaurants get the same amount of recognition because I know the work that goes behind it. So I know any operator out there is working harder, if not as hard. And I believe every restaurant in the city deserves some kind of recognition. There's a lot of work that goes behind it. I'm not just saying the restaurant industry. I'm sure like every work has its own challenges. It's hard work and it deserves its recognition. So if they haven't, I don't know. I've never tried to like dig into that one, but if they haven't, if somebody deserving out there should definitely get it.
All right, let's get into the controversy.
Oh my God. I don't know about that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Southern hospitality?
I think,
is it real or is it facade?
It's real. I think they come with genuine values. Like very honestly, I almost grew up here, and if Tennessee is considered
South,
anywhere in the South, I think I've had nothing but great experience. Even like I was saying, when I came here, I was helping my cousin in his business, and I don't know if you consider this as hospitality or not, but the guest who's to come into the business and they would see me work on holidays, they would actually make me a plate and bring it to me. And I'm talking about the core essence.
Yeah.
You're talking about, and it's a vast. It's a vast.
Yeah.
So I want to start with that. And I really see a huge difference in the past 10 years. Nashville itself. Look at the hospitality we have over here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. So I think it's real.
What's the differences between Southern hospitality and Indian hospitality?
So there is a fine line between the two. They both are very genuine. Indian hospitality, I don't think you cannot compare the two, but they do like differentiate in their own ways. Southern hospitality, I think, comes from like a very like, this is a controversial word.
It's controversial. Oh yeah, it's controversial, but
I think they both are diverse, but
yeah.
I think they definitely like deserve their own, I don't think I will like put the two together or probably try to compare the two together.
Yeah, it's, I'm trying to think of the differences between the two.
I'll let you come up with it. How about that?
Yeah. We'll get back to that topic. I have some thoughts, but I don't know if I know Indian hospitality.
Let's see. I'll validate it for you.
Let's see where my mind is going with this. For me, in my hospitality world, in the Southern hospitality, is the church world. And we brought this up. That's my background is church ministry work.
Right.
We're filming this in the church. If you guys didn't know, we are. For me, this Southern hospitality in the church world is a facade. In the restaurant world, I think it's legitimate. But I also grew up in an Italian background. And so Italian hospitality is very straightforward, but they love you deeply.
Right.
Southern hospitality is, for me, it's this facade of fakeness. 60 to 70% of the people actually care about you. There's a group of people that don't really care.
So I'm going to say something, and that's in everything and everywhere.
Yep.
Every country, every race, there's good and bad in everything.
Oh, of course. Yes.
So I think just to kind of like, categorize it that way, I just don't think it will help because like you said, 70% is good, 30% is not. So which hospitality doesn't have that?
Yeah. There's definitely not a hospitality that's perfect.
Exactly. So
I think if we can take immediately in my mind in the hospitality world I've been in, because I've been in the restaurant world very shortly. I've been in more of the catering side.
Right.
But my background in hospitality is church work and then hotels. I've been in hotels for 12 years. That's my background. And so immediately comes to mind is the most hospitable people to me in the world is Egyptian people. And I think from my observation, they go above and beyond in the hospitality world, and they truly care. That's my experience, especially in the hotel space. In the restaurant world, I don't know. But in the hotel space, immediately is Egyptians and Filipinos come to mind. And there's no perfect form of hospitality. I think we can all offer hospitality in great ways.
Right.
And there's ways that I'm going to fail in my hospitality, that ways that you're going to succeed. But it's an interesting topic.
It is.
That I don't think a lot of people like try to break down like, oh, what did I learn from this culture? How can I be more hospitable here? Like, yeah.
So talking about hospitality and Indian hospitality, and especially in the hotel industry. So I was just talking about this to somebody, and a Holiday Inn, let's say over here, has way different hospitalities than a Holiday Inn in India.
Oh, okay.
Like you'll literally walk in there and there'll be people making you wear garlands, having like a welcome drink. And you can walk in over here and you'll be like checking yourself in, taking your own luggage up.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
I think it also comes with the amount of staffing that you can, the property can afford being in the different parts of the world, trying to give the best service with what you can.
Yeah.
One thing about hospitality that resonates with me, I've gone to buy a pair of shoes in India, and there's a story behind this. And over here, when you go buy shoes, you're like looking for your own sizes. Hopefully you'll come across somebody and, they'll tell you.
And they may have it in the back.
Yeah. And they have it in the back.
Yeah.
Over there, there was a gentleman who literally went above and beyond. He's making me try them shoes. Like almost to the point at the end of it, I was like, if I don't buy a pair of shoes,
I feel bad. Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think, let's see how to word this correctly. Do you think it's based on the differences in population that helps? And then also the monetary exchange?
Yeah. So the population being one of the hugest,
1.4 billion right now. Yeah. 1.5 billion.
So the workforce is coming to you at a cheaper price. And where it's not, obviously it's going to be more expensive, which is going to change the value and the service that you can provide. If you're paying your people less, you can definitely hire more and give the best services. And maybe that's where it's coming from. I could be wrong, but
yeah, I think it's all in, but I just like bringing up that topic because for me, like I've been in tourism for a very long time, like the hotel space. And so for me, hospitality is, especially if the clientele I've worked with is the very like high end clientele.
Right.
It's making sure like, hey, am I always not bringing my best foot forward? Like, yeah, I'm a casual dresser. I'm not wearing suits and ties on my stuff.
Right.
Also, like
but that works for you. We spoke.
But my tours, like I'm dressing up to what they're dressing as.
Right.
And so, I think for me, like in the hospitality world, it's like, okay, it's the golden rule. Like I want to treat them better than how I'm treated. And I think that's just the principle of hospitality worldwide. Right. Treat people better than how you're treated.
Yeah. Or how you would at least want to be treated when you
exactly
out.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the difference between sit down Indian restaurants in India compared to American restaurants?
Again, the difference lies in the amount of workforce that is hired at a restaurant, maybe in India as compared to one over here. Mm-hmm. And it's just not Indian restaurant. I think they have like a server standing behind every table, it feels.
Okay.
And over here, it's just the culture is like where you have these many amount of people as compared to the amount of tables you have. But I will also say this, like, I see a much more polished side when, even though like, there's not as much staff for the amount of tables you might need, but they're very polished and they try to come across and they're very friendly. Mm-hmm. Which I would be lying if I don't see that over there. I think, again, depends person to person.
Yeah. What's the, I know probably all different parts of India are different, but if somebody was traveling, like one of our guests was traveling to India, what's the policy in tipping? Because American is a very tip heavy, service based thing. So like if you're a better server, hypothetically, you may do better in tips.
Right.
But in Italy, when you go to Italy, most of Italy, the tips are built into the price. And so like you're still going to get good service because they're getting the tips regardless.
Right.
So what is it like in India?
I think it's probably the same as it is in Italy. I think the service charge is already built into the price.
Okay.
But they're paid. They're underpaid.
Of course.
To me.
Yes.
So if you guys are traveling to India and, if you can afford it, please give an extra 20% on top.
Yeah. How would you describe a perfect week traveling through India?
A perfect week. Oh my God.
Because you can't do it in a day. You have to at least dedicate a week.
Yeah.
maybe dedicate like 6 months.
Yeah. Like I think if you want to start, you would start at Bombay, my favorite city, especially for the culinary. Amazing restaurants. I actually learn from the restaurants what they have over there. It's a whole different culture. So Bombay is definitely on the top of my list. Goa. So Goa is almost like a very beachy town, again, like known for its food and, different cultures kind of like come in there just as like a vacation resort. That's another one on the list. So probably a couple of days over there, a couple of days in Bombay. So that's 4. That leaves 3. Which other place would I visit? I would definitely go to this place called Amritsar. It's in the northern part of India.
So would you recommend like taking a hopper plane to these places? Because like I know I've seen the train stories of like the Indian train stories.
Yeah, and plus like, if you have only 7 days, I wouldn't waste your time traveling.
On train.
Because you'd probably take a day to go from like Bombay.
Southern to, yeah. Okay.
So just hop on a plane and it won't be that bad. I think it's like domestic flights are not that expensive.
Okay.
And then you can go to Delhi, is the capital of India. That's one. But I would kind of go to Amritsar, which is a little north of that. And it's really known for this temple. It's called Golden Temple. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of people come in there. They actually feed close to about 100,000 people a day.
Wow.
In that temple. And to me, that's like, really something that's amazing. So I really always go pay my visit over there, and it's a great tourist attraction as well. That leaves me probably how many more days left?
Maybe like one or two. Yeah.
I think the last day I would go back to Bombay. It's one of my favorite cities.
Okay.
I would go back to Bombay.
What are things that you love about Nashville?
Oh my God, there's so much. Very honestly, Nashville has come a long way in the past 7-8 years. I still remember I could drive from like Clarksville all the way to Franklin in like 45 to 50 minutes.
Oh, you can't do that now.
I can't even get, it took about 30 minutes to get here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so it's grown a lot. But Nashville is like a perfect cusp for me between like a metropolitan and still just got like the southern values like we spoke about. And so you can kind of like go to the Parthenon and just kind of like have a relaxed day, or you can go Broadway and let it go crazy at night. And there's so much culture and art still here. So one of my favorite cities in the country, most definitely.
How would you, if somebody was visiting, you could have your restaurant included in this. What's your perfect itinerary? Like, how would you go spend a Saturday if you had a Saturday off? Which I know you don't, but if you had a Saturday off,
I would wake up really late. I spend all day sleeping. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But maybe if I have a Saturday, I would start, like I said, the Parthenon. It's one of my favorite places to go visit. I would definitely do like a breakfast or maybe like a picnic lunch at the Parthenon.
Who would you have breakfast with at the Parthenon? Like what type of restaurant?
That's a good one. Biscuit Love?
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan?
Not a fan.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Grilled cheesery?
They don't serve breakfast.
I like grilled cheese.
Yeah, I love grilled cheese. Yeah.
Basil tomato.
So Biscuit Love, I guess publicly I'll say, okay. I've gone to that restaurant 7 or 8 times. I try giving each restaurant 3 times before I really make a decision on it. Hospitality could be off that day. Food could be off that day. Right. Anything could be off that day. With Biscuit Love, I've had 5 really terrible experiences.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Twice the chicken was undercooked.
Oh my God.
And there was pink in the chicken. I've had better biscuits at chain restaurants. And to me, their coffee is just it's not enjoyable. Like in the biscuit world, this is what I enjoy. Maple Street Biscuit.
Oh, wow.
Rise. Both of those are chain restaurants, and Farmstead Nashville, which used to be Nashville Jam Company. Those are my 3 favorite biscuits. Now, like I love Loveless biscuits, but like the quarter size biscuits, I want a little bit more. Like,
yeah.
But the Paper Mill does that really good job in Mount Juliet. But you know who has an amazing biscuit? Hattie B's. Hattie B's has probably one of the best biscuits in Nashville. It's only at their Franklin location.
I haven't tried.
And basically, it's their biscuit with their hot chicken drizzled over honey.
And it's available all day?
Only for at Hattie B's Friday, Saturday, and Sundays for brunch. In Franklin. They also have it at the airport. So when you're flying out of the airport, you can get that same biscuit at the airport.
Okay, I'm
all
doing
day.
That next week. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry to dish biscuit left. Who?
Hardee's breakfast.
The fast food place?
Yeah.
No, it's never.
I know. So I don't know who I was going on a drive with, and we start back Hardee's for breakfast. Fantastic. I love their biscuits.
So sorry to diss on Biscuit Love. Hopefully that didn't break anyone's dream. Also, I don't like waiting in line for an hour for a biscuit. Like they did the Hattie B's model where like, hey, let's pipe up the line.
Right.
And because of what we do, I know they've spent a lot of money to get the publications that they've been in. And so, all right, I'm sorry to harp on Biscuit Love. Okay.
Where were we?
Akki would take Biscuit Love to the Parthenon.
I would. On that, I don't know now.
Yeah.
Okay, where were we? What part of the day were we?
We're still at breakfast. Yeah.
Still at breakfast. Oh my God, there's a lot to go. For lunch, oh my God. What's my favorite lunch place? Avo.
Yeah, Avo's a great choice. Yeah. Are you getting more of like their salads or more of like, because Avo, if you don't know, it's a raw vegan place.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's one of the best vegan places I've come across.
Have you been to Sunflower Bakehouse in
Donaldson?
Yes,
I've been there.
Okay, have you been
Have a
to
bakery.
Yeah. And they're making vegan cupcakes.
Right.
Another great vegan option is Be Salty and Sweet in Columbia.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
He is a trained chef from like one of the best pastry makers in San Francisco. And his chocolate chip cookie is phenomenal. It's all vegan and it's phenomenal.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Yeah.
Okay, so Avo. So where would you go to lunch? Like, do you go eat at Avo? Okay.
Yeah, I would just eat at Avo.
Yeah.
I like the atmosphere.
Okay.
Like, especially for the lunch, because the glass windows, it's kind of bright in there. So I like that spot. And then in the evening, I have to put Broadway in there, but that would be like a late night for me rather than in the evening.
Okay.
I would definitely go to Jashan for dinner.
Yeah. Where would be another spot that you would go for dinner? Have you been to like Present Tense or which is like this Japanese concept?
Huge into steak.
Okay.
And
have you been to Jimmy Kelly's?
I haven't, but Bourbon Steak or Cane Prime is my top.
Both are great.
Yes. Popcorn lobster at Cane Prime. Can't beat it.
Jimmy Kelly's is one of the oldest steakhouses in Nashville. I think they opened in 1927.
I haven't.
You should go check them out. Have you been to Sperry's?
I haven't been.
They're like 50 or 60 years old, so great options. But if you want really good steakhouses, you need to head out of Nashville. Like the Bourbon Steak and Cane Prime are amazing.
Right.
But there's a place called Main and Monroe in Lexington, Tennessee. Fantastic.
Oh, is that right?
There's one in Holdenwall, Tennessee called Garage Dog. And she, I believe she was like at a Michelin star restaurant. She opened a steakhouse in Holdenwall, Tennessee. So like for $50, you're getting like Michelin quality food.
Oh, wow.
So there's amazing. Have you been to 1799 in Franklin?
I haven't been there either. I'm literally making a note in my head.
Yeah.
This right now.
They have a market rate steak and all of their food is $17.99. I could talk about food all day, as you know. And bourbon steak is great. Like the how they present the bacon and they bring the bacon out and they swirl the lid around. It's like this full experience.
Right. I know, like the complete experience, like especially with the ambiance, the view from there.
Hey, but the steak at Jashan, it's an Indian steak. It's super unique.
I'm telling you, that's what that would, and I'm not trying to say this because of It's because like I would love to go there for dinner.
Yeah.
It's like a complete experience for me.
That sounds like a great itinerary. Full of food, a little bit of history with the Parthenon. It's in Broadway.
Go to Broadway at night. Like let it loose a little bit.
What's your late night eats?
There used to be a place on Broadway, Turnip Truck. Is that what? No,
Turnip Truck, the grocery store?
No.
Okay,
that's what it was like. You should know the name, and I'm kind of drawing a blank here.
Is it pizza? Is it hot dogs?
It was hot chicken, burger, and hot chicken sandwiches.
There's the diner.
No, it was the truck something.
Truck.
And it shut down.
Okay.
Can't
remember. Yeah, food trucks come and go in this city.
It wasn't a food truck. It was. Okay. It was in the obviously in like the first floor of.
Paradise Park.
There we go.
With those burgers.
Yes.
Yeah. Now it's Garth Brooks's bar.
Yeah. I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
I was like, man.
And the food at Garth is not as good as it used to be in Paradise Park.
I didn't even try it after that.
Okay.
Like I used to love like the sandwiches over there so much. And
Roberts has a great sandwich downtown.
What's your favorite late night?
Sleep. I fast late night. So like I try fasting from
like if you had to, you got out and
late night downtown. How late? Like 3 a.m.?
Maybe midnight to 3.
I haven't eaten that late in 15 years. I do, but like I don't.
What's your best pizza spot in the city?
Best pizza spot in the city? Tutte de Joe.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Il Forno in Chestnut Hill. Pinky Ring Pizza. There's been a really big resurrection of great Frankie's. Frankie's is amazing pizza. They're from Brooklyn.
I haven't tried. Have you tried Bella Napoli?
Not yet, but I need to.
Yeah.
It's been recommended to us a lot.
Yes.
So, but for deep dish, Champions in Gallatin or 312, late night, it would probably be pizza. Let's be honest. It'll be 5 Points Pizza. I would drive to East Nashville to get a slice at 2 a.m.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about a lot of things, Akki.
Yes.
What is one takeaway that you want people listening to take away?
For anybody who's wanting to probably, or is debating, should they do their own thing or should they stick to what they're doing? And if you have the slightest want of doing your own thing, my only takeaway is get up for yourself at 5 a.m. rather than getting up for somebody at 7 a.m.
Uh-huh. That's a great piece of advice.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Because hypothetically, you're going to work harder for yourself than you work for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Work harder for yourself.
Yeah. And getting up at 5 a.m. is a great piece of advice because that's when you get stuff done.
That's when I'm in bed.
Yeah. Akki, where could people come check out your restaurants?
Sorry, say that again.
Where could they check out your restaurants? So you have Sindoore and Jashan. Where could they follow you and all those things? Yeah.
On our Instagram, Facebook. Just come visit us.
Yeah, that's the best way to experience them is to visit their restaurants.
Visit the restaurant.
Yeah, Akki, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yep, there we go.
Thank you.